In the grand tapestry of human history, countless threads weave together to form the events we study today. Some are thick and obvious, like political ideologies or economic collapses. Others are thin, almost invisible, hiding in plain sight. What if one of the most devastating conflicts in human history, the Second World War, was influenced by something as mundane, as everyday, as a glass of orange juice? It sounds absurd, like a joke from a satirical newspaper. But what if we told you that the story of citrus, sugar, and the dictator's breakfast table is more deeply intertwined with the march to war than you could ever imagine? This is not a conspiracy theory, but a journey into the strange, interconnected world of history, biology, and human psychology. Upbeat, curious music starts. The story begins not in the halls of power, but in the humble groves of Florida and California. In the early 20th century, the orange was a symbol of sunshine, health, and modernity. But it had a problem. Oranges were seasonal and difficult to transport. The juice, once squeezed, would spoil quickly. The dream was to bottle that sunshine, to make the vibrant taste of fresh oranges available to everyone, everywhere, all year round. Scientists and industrialists raced to crack the code. The breakthrough came in the 1930s with the development of flash pasteurization and improved canning techniques. Suddenly, canned orange juice was a reality. It wasn't perfect, often tasting more of metal than fruit, but it was a start. This new product was marketed with an almost religious fervor. It was a miracle tonic, packed with a newly discovered marvel. Vitamin C advertisements proclaimed it could ward off colds, boost energy, and grant a new level of vitality. Orange juice wasn't just a drink. It was a promise of a better, healthier life. This obsession with health and purity found a dark echo across the Atlantic in the rising ideology of the Third Reich. The Nazi Party was built on a twisted vision of biological purity and national vitality. They were obsessed with creating a master race, a nation of physically and genetically superior Aryans. This obsession permeated every aspect of German society, from marriage laws to public health campaigns. The regime promoted exercise, discouraged smoking and drinking, and championed wholesome, natural foods. They believed that the strength of the nation was directly linked to the physical health of its citizens. A strong body was a prerequisite for a strong soldier and a fertile mother. In this meticulously crafted ideology of wellness, every meal was a political act, a contribution to the strength or weakness of the Volk. And for a leader who embodied this ideology, a man known for his vegetarianism and health fads, the daily diet was of paramount importance. This brings us to the breakfast table of Adolf Hitler. Contrary to the popular image of a ranting madman, Hitler cultivated an image of discipline and asceticism. He abstained from alcohol and meat, believing they corrupted the body and clouded the mind. His personal physician, Theodor Morell, a man whose controversial methods would later come under intense scrutiny, prescribed a dizzying array of vitamins, hormones, and esoteric supplements. Central to this daily regimen, according to records and memoirs from his inner circle, was a freshly squeezed glass of orange juice. For Hitler, it was more than just a refreshing beverage. It was the embodiment of vitality, a concentrated dose of the sunshine and life force he believed was essential for his monumental task of reshaping Germany and the world. The vitamin C was not just for preventing scurvy. It was fuel for his will, a scientific elixir to maintain his energy and mental clarity for the long days of political maneuvering and strategic planning. But there was a problem. Germany, with its temperate climate, could not grow oranges. Every single orange, every drop of juice consumed by the Führer and the Nazi elite had to be imported. This created a subtle but profound vulnerability. The reliance on foreign nations for something as fundamental as the leader's morning ritual was a constant, irritating reminder of Germany's economic dependence. It flew in the face of the core Nazi principle of asterisk autarky. Asterisk, the ideal of a self-sufficient nation, reliant on no one. How could Germany project an image of absolute strength and independence when its leader's vitality depended on shipments of fruit from countries that might one day become its enemies. This wasn't just about breakfast. It was a matter of national pride and strategic security. As the 1930s wore on and Hitler's ambitions grew, this citrus dependency became a microcosm of a much larger strategic dilemma. To build his thousand-year Reich, he needed resources: oil for his tanks and planes, iron ore for his steel, rubber for his tires, and, yes, fertile land to feed his people and perhaps even grow his own oranges. Germany was an industrial powerhouse, but it was resource. The British Empire and the United States controlled the seas, and with them, the global trade routes. The vast, resource-rich lands of the Soviet Union lay to the east. The quest for Lebensraum, or living space, was not just an abstract ideological goal. It was presented as a practical necessity for Germany's survival and dominance. The need to secure a domestic supply of everything, from petroleum to produce, became a driving force behind German foreign policy. The humiliation of importing oranges was a small-scale reflection of the larger humiliation of being a have-not nation in a world controlled by haves. This mindset, this obsession with self-sufficiency, fueled by a blend of grand ideology and mundane necessity, laid the direct groundwork for the Second World War. When Hitler looked east, he saw the breadbasket of Europe and Ukraine, the oil fields of the Caucasus, and the vast temperate plains that could, in his vision, be transformed into a German heartland. Conquering these lands would not only provide the resources needed to wage a prolonged war against the Western powers, but would also fulfill the dream of autarky. Germany would finally be the master of its own destiny, independent of foreign trade and naval blockades. The tanks that rolled into Poland in 1939 and later into the Soviet Union in 1941 were fueled by oil, but they were also driven by this deep-seated desire for national self-sufficiency. A desire symbolized in its own small way by a simple glass of orange juice. The war was a monstrous gamble to secure everything Germany lacked, to create a continental empire that would never again have to ask another nation for its daily bread or its daily vitamins. So, did orange juice cause World War II? Of course not. To claim so would be a grotesque oversimplification of a conflict born from a toxic brew of virulent nationalism, racial hatred, economic desperation, and political failure. The war was caused by the ambition of tyrants, the appeasement of nations, and the suffering of millions. Yet, the story of the orange serves as a powerful and unexpected lens through which to view the motivations behind the madness. It reminds us that grand historical events are not just shaped by abstract forces, but also by the tangible, everyday needs and desires of the people who drive them. The Nazi ideology of purity and vitality, their strategic obsession with self, and the personal habits of a dictator all converged. The humble orange, a symbol of health and sunshine, became tangled in a web of paranoia, ambition, and national pride. It highlights the strange and often invisible connections that bind the mundane to the monumental, showing how something as simple as a desire for a secure supply of breakfast juice can reflect the very same logic that leads a nation down the path to conquest and global war. History is not just a series of grand pronouncements and major battles. It's also found in the quiet details, in the things people eat, and in the surprising stories hidden within a simple glass of orange juice.